السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين ثم أما بعد. My dear respected brothers and sisters, of the most important actions that are found in the heart of a slave is the action of taqwa. One having taqwa in Allah Azza wa Jal. And when we ask ourselves, what is taqwa? Many of the times we describe it as the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, or the consciousness of Allah Azza wa Jal. And whilst both definitions are correct, we find in the saying of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu a more in-depth and beneficial definition that we can take. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says regarding taqwa, هي الخوف من الجليل والعمل بالتنزيل والقناعة بالقليل والاستعداد ليوم الرحيل. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says regarding taqwa that it is the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, the fear and the consciousness of Allah Azza wa Jal. And when we find ourselves asking regarding the fear of Allah Azza wa Jal and regarding the benefit of one having fear of Allah Azza wa Jal, we think to the fact that it is upon the slave to know that Allah Azza wa Jal sees them at all time. And it is upon the slave to know that Allah Azza wa Jal hears them at all times. And it is upon the slave to know that Allah Azza wa Jal knows what the slave is doing at all times. And it is also upon the slave to know that it is only Allah Azza wa Jal that can truly punish them in the hereafter or reward them in the hereafter. And when we combine all of these thought processes and all of these things that we must know and we must accept, we find that it is only natural for a person to be conscious and to fear displeasing Allah Azza wa Jal. When Allah Azza wa Jal tells the slave to stand and pray, and the slave knows that Allah Azza wa Jal sees them at all times and hears them at all times, and the slave knows that Allah Azza wa Jal knows what they are doing, and that Allah Azza wa Jal is the one that can punish them for their actions, then naturally they will fear Allah Azza wa Jal. So from taqwa is for a slave, it is for a slave to have fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, هي الخوف من الجليل والعمل بالتنزيل, and doing and acting upon that which Allah Azza wa Jal has revealed. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Allah Azza wa Jal has not created the slave for anything other than His worship. Allah Azza wa Jal, He says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسِ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ, that He did not create the jinn nor the mankind except that they worship Him. Therefore, when we understand that this is our only true purpose, it is upon a slave to act and to work and to be hasty in their action when it comes to the worship of Allah Azza wa Jal. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, هي الخوف من الجليل والعمل بالتنزيل والقناعة بالقليل, and being pleased with little. When a slave realizes that the only reason they were created is to worship Allah Azza wa Jal, and realistically we are going to live in this world for a short period, and then we are going to die, and we are going to be resurrected, and we are going to be judged, and then ultimately we are either going to end up in the hellfire or we are going to end up in paradise. When a person understands this, they know how little this world is worth, and therefore when Allah Azza wa Jal may give a person little in terms of their home and in terms of its size, little in terms of the car and what model it is, little in terms of the family that they may have, little in terms of their wealth, whatever it may be, a person understands that this world is worth nothing and realistically they are going to leave it, so therefore they are pleased with whatever Allah Azza wa Jal gives them, and they thank Allah Azza wa Jal for whatever He gives them. So Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says, هي الخوف من الجليل والعمل بالتنزيل والقناعة بالقليل والاستعداد ليوم الرحيل. We live in this world for a short period, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Some of us 60 years, some of us 70 years, some of us 90 years, some of us only 30 years. Some people die when they are young. The purpose of this world is a preparation. Just as a person travels from one point to the other, we, from the time that we are born to the time that we die, we are simply travelers throughout this world, awaiting the time in which we are going to die, and then we will be resurrected, and Allah Azza wa Jal will judge us, and we will all stand in front of Allah Azza wa Jal, and He will give us our books, and our books will either be given to the person in their right hand, and the person that receives their book in their right hand, they will be so excited and so happy, and they will celebrate. However, the person that achieves their book in their left hand, that is given their book in their left hand, they will try to hide it behind their back, wishing that they were never given their book, as Allah Azza wa Jal describes in the Quran. Therefore, it is upon us to use this world as a preparation for the real world, for the real time, the place in which we will spend eternity in the hereafter. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal that He makes us of those who have taqwa, and we ask Allah Azza wa Jal that He is pleased with us and allows us to enter the highest levels of Jannah. هذا والله أعلم وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وجزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.